everyone. So today we'll be doing the lily of the valley using gum paste. So that is the one that we'll be doing at the end of today's session. So this is a sample that I had made and kept. So the tools that are needed for this, the one that I posted this morning, right? Okay. I just missed out the cutters, but then I just saw a comment that you could make it without cutters. Then I am going to also show you another way where if you don't have the cutters, how do you do that? Also I am going to show. And so these are the tweezers, the regular ones, surgical ones, or even the ones that can be used for the eyebrows. But if you buy that, then keep it exclusively for the cake deco stuffs. Is my voice okay now? I'm just trying to be a little louder. Is that okay, Janvi? Okay, so then I just have 30 gauge wires and some brushes. And then I have edible glue, and the important thing that we need are the different sizes of ball tools. I mean, or this is not a ball tool, but that just comes as part of the modeling tool. That also we'll be using the bigger one and a small one. This comes in a set of 4. If you guys have that, well and good. And then that's green petal dust that we need, and some brushes for dusting, and a pair of scissors. Okay, so let me just start. We just show you the flower in close-up, and then that important thing, we need gum paste. I'm using Confect's gum paste today, and just wrapped it and kept. It's a little dry, and before using, I'll just knead it where, and then once I knead it, it is going to become pliable. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up and keep. Before I start, I'll just take it out again from the cling wrap. So I'm just pushing the tools aside. Okay. Alright, so one of you from the Facebook, comment if my voice is loud and clear, and if I can just continue with this same volume. Okay, so if you look at the flower, they are kind of bell shaped ones, and they are bent from the main stem. Each individual ones are wired, and they get attached to the main stem here, and each of them are bent. I mean, these are just wires. Okay, and I have bent it to position it like that. So if you go around and check, all of them are attached. So these are all individual flowers, and if you notice, the small one starts from the top, and then so these are the small ones, and then the medium size, and then the big size. So it starts from the small and then goes on till the bigger size. And when you look at the flowers closely, see, there are different ways of making it, and people generally don't do the center, or you can do the center, and there are simpler ways also of doing it. But what I'm going to show you now, each of them are going to have centers, and they are the bell shaped petals, and they will be attached, wired, and then finally all taped together. Okay, so I just put aside this model for now, and then let me start with making. So what I'm going to show you now is make one big flower, one medium sized flower, and one small sized flower. Why I'm showing all 3 different sizes is because each of them use a different ball tool, and as the size goes lower, it just gets a little flimsier to handle. So if I just make and show it to you, so you'll have a clearer idea. So I'm just opening out the gum paste from the cling wrap, kneading it. I'm going to roll it out here on the counter. Okay, so it could get sticky, so I just need a little bit of corn flour dusted on the counter. Okay, and then a rolling pin is needed to roll out, which I think I missed out in the tools list. And ideally, when you're making sugar flowers, we generally tell to roll it very thin, like paper thin and all that. But for this flower, we just need a little thicker one. I'll tell you why we need thicker, ones when we actually go on to making the flower. So just making it smooth. So what I'm going to do, use these 3 cutters. So if you don't have these cutters, what you do, I think most of you would have that plunger cutter, which is of this shape, right? They are called blossom plunger cutters, right? They will be handy. Whoever has that, you can use that plunger cutter, blossom plunger cutter. And if you don't have that, if you have this green ones, well, yes, you can use all 3 sizes. Plunger cutter also comes in 3 sizes, which you can use. If you don't have that, then I'm going to show the other way of how to do this without a cutter itself. Okay, so now keeping it this thick. Okay, so I'm going to cut out. If it is plunger cutter, you can just eject it out. Now that if you're using a cutter like this, you need to use back of your brush and then remove this out. So because I'm going to show only one flower of each size, but what I have made here is 6 of each size you need at least to make the spray. If 1 or 2 gets broken up, that's fine, but you need 6 of each size to put them together. If you don't have white tape, green is okay, but just that lighter green will be better. But that doesn't matter for now. I think we don't have a choice. You have to use green, but yeah, the look is not going to be really the way we want it. Okay, so when you are cutting out like 6 petals of each, like roll out a bigger sheet and say cut out all the, maybe I'll just keep it here, cut out 6 of each. Okay, so but you don't want them to be lying there and then drying out, but you can have a sheet like this. It's just a folder with a flap of plastic sheet where you put them inside and close it. They will be drying there. If you don't have that, that doesn't matter. There are ziplocs like this, right? So you open up the ziploc, because you will be handling a lot of petals at the same time, right? So you don't want them to be lying down on the countertop, because they will be dried out by the time you are going to use it. So when I use a ziploc, just try and make sure there is no air locked inside. It can't be like the balloon thing. So after you've done that, I generally fold it and then put it down, making sure there is no air going inside. Alright, now we'll be just shaping the bigger one. So when you are going to take it, open out the ziploc, just take that one petal that you are going to work. You start with the biggest, that is easier, and when you taken one out, close it again by removing off all the air, and then just let it aside. Okay, and for the bigger one, see, but I was just juggling between few different sizes of the ball tools that I have and what size I'm going to make. And so this is the biggest ball tool that I have. I was just trying to juggle and see if this is going to work or if this is going to work. We're just going to make a bell shape. Okay, so this sounded too big for me, So you might have different sizes of ball tools, and you might have to practice a few flowers and see which size works really well for you. Okay, so the flower is here. Put it in your palm and use the ball tool. Okay, and put it inside, put in the center, and keep the flower on top. Keep the flower on top. Okay, and press the top first, and that is why you want the rolled gum paste to be thicker, because if it is too thin, now this is not going to expand or get bigger. So you want it to get bigger. Okay, so now press it here and then press down all the petals. Now I'm going to use all the fingers in my left hand. That's my left hand, which I'm holding, this one, and I'm going to press all the petals. And you see this part is all thick, right? So now I want to press it so the petals get thinned on its edges. Okay, so this one is broken, so I will not be able to use it now. So I need to quickly roll out some more gum paste to show that size. And adding too much corn flour will also dry out the gum paste. And to make it soft, if you think your gum paste is kind of dry, to make it soft you have to knead it well so it gets soft. So rolling it thick using the bigger cutter. Back of my brush. I'm putting the gum paste back because you don't want to waste, and wrap it on keep. Now this is quite soft. Putting it upside down, pressing the petals. Now here, by doing this, if the gum paste is like really soft, you will be facing situations, I don't want to say issues, situations where the ball tool is kind of too stuck and you're not able to remove it. But you can't do it on a foam pad because you're kind of looking at a proper bell shape like that. And we're doing it, and then because it is thicker, right, so here you just want to push and make it thin at the edge of the ball tool, and whatever is there excess you're trying to push it up. So every petal you're trying to push it up and make it as long as possible without breaking. So when the first time you're making, but depending on the consistency of your gum paste and the warmth of your hands and the climate you are in, whether you're working in AC or it's humid, you will be wasting out 2 or 3 petals by just trying to understand what is the right way of doing it. Okay, so this is what we are looking at. Okay, it's just nicely kind of cupped really well, forming the shape. Now after this, you need a tiny little ball tool. Now if you don't have that, what can you do? You can use your Dresden tool also. But if you have the tiny ball tool, I tried this, it works also. But if this ball tool is there, it works better for me. Okay, so now this is the one that is having the the flower. So I will hold this with my fingers, and that's my ring finger, right? I'm just going to hold this on my ring finger and use the tiny ball tool side. I'm just going to sit down and just focus into. So this ring finger is there, and now I'm going to open up this one petal and rest it on my ring finger and then gently push it out, making that edge a little pointy. Okay, and I will turn the ball tool, again rest that on my ring finger, open that petal out. Okay, and I need to rest it on my ring finger and gently push it out. Likewise, I'll do this too. I mean, it doesn't mean ring finger, that works perfectly well for me because I am using my index and my thumb finger to hold the ball tool, right? So having this finger may not work, so this finger is convenient. But without that, you're trying to open it out, then you will not be able to get this, the tip of the petal sharp. Okay, so you open out and make all the petals open, right? After which, now they are all too open when the bell shape is like not really great now. So after you've done this part, I need to push this back again, okay, inside, by using these two fingers gently, pinch this petal and push it in, okay, and gently open it out like this. It just gets like a hook thing. So you see the difference between this one. This is how it was after the ball tool thing, and this is what I've made out of it. Okay, I'll do this again. Pinch it here, push it back in, and then just roll it out. Now depending on, again, on it's just getting a little drier right now. It could break because I'm just explaining and then taking time to do this. When you are doing, you will not be putting in a lot of time. You have to be a little quicker, but also depends on where you are and all that. So pushing it back, pinching it, and then rolling it back. Okay, so this is what we are looking at. Okay, so now the next thing comes, you need to take this out of the ball tool. So gently try and gently open it out so it comes like that, and gently put it on your counter. It is okay because it is just taken shape and it will dry in that same shape. But just in case it is going to open out and all that, keep a watch on it if it is opening out, and then just put it back in shape now and then it will go back in that shape and dry. Alright, so that one is done. I'll see now. I'll go to the one size smaller. We'll see. Now this ball tool will not be enough for that, so I'm going to this ziplock. So this one more is there, so I seal it back, because if that gets dried out, then you might have to roll and cut again. Okay, so this was a ball tool, right, which I had used for that one. So if I use, will I be able to cup this and then get to the bell shape we want? No. So let me try with this one. I had already tried, so I know this one works. So if you are doing it for the first time, you might have to go see this one also you can use. There are these sizes, and then I have this one and this one, depending on the size of the cutter, and what size you really want the flower to be. But this is the maximum bigger size because they're very very tiny flowers in real. So for me, I have to try it on this one and see when this actually looks right. Also I can use it on this also, but because it is at an angle, and a ball tool, a proper ball tool itself, if it works for the size I want, then I would prefer to use the ball tool instead of this. So you go and use this if that is the last resort, if you want to try. So I'm going to use this now. I've been talking, it could have dried, but I want to see how it works. So now pressing on the top because it is thicker, right? So you're just trying to thin that part. Pressed enough, okay, and press each petal up. If it is not too dry, no, the cup shape will just remain. It will just the ball tool will hold the flower for you. If it's dried out, they'll open up and then they'll kind of fall off by itself. Okay, so that's how it is, which is like we've thinned down enough. Okay, and the petals, the bell shape is formed now. Okay, so now as I said, hold this ball tool with the index and the thumb finger and use your ring finger to rest the ball tool, and use a tiny ball tool to open out and resting on the ring finger. Kind of making the tip of every petal a little sharper and pointy. So that's the goal. So very gentle. Okay, and make it pointy. And now it's like kind of too open, right? This is not the bell shape that we are looking at. So you put it back, and so you pinch it first like that and put it back in its shape, I mean the shape, so the bell shape is retained. Pinch it and then roll it backwards like that. Okay, so I'll do that again. Pinch it, push it to the front to retain the bell shape and roll it back. See, there are in that one spray which has like 6 of each, which means 18. There could be a few of them without this rolling back also. So you try and get this rolling back. If you get, well and good, otherwise just push everything inside and then kind of make it like proper bell shape without the rolling back is also okay. So now the bell shape is there, and then the rolling back is also there. If you feel like you really want to make a little more bell shape, just press it. Okay, now remove it off gently. And here, if it doesn't come out like how it is coming out for me, which means your gum paste is kind of soft to work with. So at that time, what you can do, just put the petal out instead of keeping it covered. Put the petal out like say for a minute or so. So they will just harden up a bit. After it's hardened up a bit, then you can do the same process and it will come out of the ball tool. If it gets sticky and all that, you don't have to panic, which means it's like really soft. So you just need to let it rest for it to just set a little bit, so it will not be like too soft. So that's the smallest one. So I will go back to this. So what really happens is, I tried with this ball tool. I'll see if I like it now. Yeah, I think I'll use this. I put it to the side. I'm pressing out. Okay, so after it's taken the shape, right, and that's why I didn't like this ball tool. I prefer to use this one. Then it's going to expand. Or see if this one works. I mean, this one is also not so great. So that's why I stuck to this one. So you need to, kind of use so press out. I'll just remove these out of focus. Okay, so and then do the same thing using the ball too. Open out. So the tiny one doesn't have to be like really perfect, like opening out and all that. Just a proper bell shape should also do. Just open out, okay, and then put it back. Opening out, you're just making it pointy. So what I'll do, you opened each of them. I'll just pinch each one. Just kind of tore on the top. Okay, and then put back into the bell shape. So that's how it is. It's torn up, but that's fine. Okay, so now this is actually kind of dried already. So by the time you're making 6 of each, they will dry by the time you get back to finishing all your centers and all that. Okay, so now each of these need to have a center. For the center, again I will just use the tiny thin wire, which is the 30G. Now you can cut them into 4 because they are like kind of small flowers, right? 5 is also okay. Okay, so now I'll just need 3 of them. Just put 2 aside. Okay, so now for the center, that's where you'll need the tweezers. I'll take this away because I don't want it to go out of focus. So that's the wire and that's the tweezer, right? So I just want to make a loop on the tip. Okay, so to do that, I'll just hold the tip with the tweezer and then twist, so bend it back like that. Okay, and I will tighten up. So that's what you have. Okay, and this is curved a bit, right? So you want to put it back, hold it here and put it back and make the loop straight. So the Y is straight and then you've made the loop. So for the big one and the small one, I used a similar kind of technique to make the center. So you just need a tiny amount of gum paste. Let me just knead it to make it soft. Softened up. Okay, a ball. That's the glue. I'll just dip the tip of this in the glue. Okay, and I'm just juggling between the Facebook and Insta, and this is like too tiny for me, so I just go a little off. Okay, so I just insert this ball in that loop, and when I insert it here, there will be a bigger hole that will be formed, right? If you just leave it out like that, it could pull out and come out later. It'll not be a tight it won't be like really secure. So now I pinch down. So to make sure in any center for that matter you make, you pinch it down here, right? And then keep twisting and then just. So this white part also you need, like that is what will be seen out when that thing is going to be bent like this, right? So that will be the gum paste itself. So try and get that, and by doing that, so what happens, this part comes out of that loop. So when you think that it is out of the loop, push it back again and make sure that head thing is well secure in that loop. And this part needs to be smooth, and this also should be secure. So after which, so this will become like a teardrop shape. So I am gently shaping it and making it a teardrop like that. Okay, so now I need tweezers to give it a little bit more detailing. Just this will be like too too simple. So I want to press it down, go around and press it down like that. So I am holding this is facing inside my hands, so I am holding it like this, and the tweezers in my right hand, and I'm just going to use another finger here to support. When if it is hanging there and then you go and just press, it is just going to bend for you. So you want a finger below that center to support it so it wouldn't go down. And now I'm just going to press it. That's one. Then turn as close as possible. So when you do that, the pressing comes all the way till the tip. Okay, it is just not on the sides. You just need to make sure the pressing thing gets you to the tip of the teardrop that you made. So go around very next to each other. Okay, and just make it a little pointy and see if it is done. So there's this the tape or something that's covering the wire is coming off. That doesn't matter, I'm just going to tape that whole thing there, so it doesn't matter. So that will be the center you need to make. So one is this way and the other is a smaller sized version, so that will go for, I'm again making a loop, same thing, loop is made. But this time I just want to use a smaller gum paste, smaller sized, right? So dipping it in the glue, I am using a 30 gauge wire. So putting this here, as I said, pinch it at the base and make that base thinner and narrower, covering up the wire. And make sure the top is well secured in that loop. It just can't be hanging out. First secure the base and then just make it thin and then smooth. Okay, and now hold it like at the bottom of that bud. And here it's a teardrop, as I said. I'm moving this out. What's the proportion of making the edible glue? Half a cup of water, half a teaspoon of CMC. I mean, that's just not the only way of making it. You can mix, and then if you want it thick, you can add more CMC. You want it a little liquidy, you can add more water. Okay, so now I'm just going to use the tweezer, this finger under to support it as close as possible. Yeah. Okay, so that will be the smaller size. That is the bigger size. And now for the smallest one that I made, I just make a loop again. And for this, I don't want to do that. I mean, if it is fine, you can do. I mean, it doesn't mean that's the only rule. I thought, let me just keep it simple. Again, some more like really tiny bit of the gum paste. You want to dip it in the edible glue and put the center in the ball. So the top, I'm just going to leave it like a teardrop. But and see, when you're doing that, you can see this is just this is just moving out of the loop that you made. When you feel like it is just hanging out, you need to put it back in that loop. It just can't be hanging out. You have too many things on the screen, no? It just juggles between the focus. But then this really has to be like kind of too small, because that is a very small sized bell shape that you've made, right? And then this part has to be kind of thin. So if it is really thick, it's not going to be good at all. And it also has to be smooth. So just keep twisting and then just make sure it is smooth. So now you have 3 different sizes of the center with 3 different sizes of the flower. So you would be making 6 of this, 6 of this, 6 of all 6 components here. Okay, and now I want to dust this green. You need something to cover up. And just use a green. That's a kiwi green. Okay, so if you have all 6 times 3 is 18. No, if you have all of them, you just hold all of them together like that. Doing it one by one could be like really time consuming. So hold all together and then dust one side all green, all that white layer also, then turn it back. So you'll be doing that to all the 16 centers. So just move that aside. Okay, so the center is done as well and dusted as well. Now we should be attaching the center to the flower that we made, for which you need edible glue and the brush for the edible glue. Okay, so now say suppose you have all 18 together. The simpler way of doing it is, now we need to add how this is going to go is, this needs to be inserted and this will come and sit at the base of this bell shaped flower. So you need either glue at the base of this center or inside the deep cup of the flower that you made. But I was doing it both the ways. Both are okay. So I'm just using a brush and taking out some glue. So if you have like 18 flower, just hold it gently. Too much pressure could break your flower. applying the glue and putting it back. I'm just being really gentle with them, but because if you put it, they're not completely dried as well. But even if they're completely dried, you just need to be careful. They could break, right, depending on what kind of gum paste you're using and all that. So apply glue into the center of all the flowers, the bell-shaped flowers. Okay, and put it back. And now they got to be inserted. Okay, so now this I will just take it in my hand, and this wire just kind of make it straight. Okay, now I'm just going to hold this in between these two fingers. So when I'm going to insert it, this wire could pass through my two fingers, right? So I'm just holding it there, just in the center. Okay, so the wire will just come out. Moving this out of the screen, wire will come out here. I'm just pulling it down. So now this excess wire that I was saying, I'll just cut it out first. It could happen to you depending on what kind of wire you are using. There's just that metal that is seen inside. Only if that comes out you have that trouble. Otherwise, if it is all fine, you don't have to do this step. So now I'll just take it gently, put it in my hand in between these two fingers, and it's here. So I'm gently pulling it down. And I'm just trying to secure a little bit so the flower, I know its base is stuck to the base of the bud, and once the glue dries up, it will stay in place. Now itself it is just in place. So that's how it is going to look, with the center and the bell shape. It's like that. So we do to the next size. I'll take this out and bring the two in. There's already glue applied in this, right? So in this, that tape of that wire is still intact, so there's no need of cutting out anything. The wire has come out here, so I'm just pulling it down and then secure it from the bottom and just make sure they are stuck. So I'm just pushing it from the top also and then the bottom also to make sure it's stuck well. Medium size is done too, and then the smaller one. There's glue there already, so I'm just inserting, pulling it down. Because there was a hole there already, so it's just trying to come out. So when I'm pressing it on the top, I'll just be a little more careful, not put too much pressure, so it sticks well. So it doesn't mean you just need to discard that flower out. You just need to make sure it is just stuck with the glue properly. And if it is stuck with the glue, once the glue dries, it will just be in place. So you have 3 different sizes, that's all you need. Now I've already made in the different sizes. So the next thing we'll do is to tape, right? I have 5 of the bigger one, because as I was making, they just got broken. Now 6 of the medium sized. So you always make extra. if you're very, if you're very keen about the number of because how long you want, how big you want when you're going to place it on your cake and all that. So this one I'm just going to let it dry, because you want it to dry for some time, like say at least 2 hours if you have proper AC running and all that. But they are just kind of small flowers, they will just not take too long to dry, but then they have to dry before you're going on to take them. And then I have is a white tape. If you don't have that, green is okay. And as I keep telling in my previous lives also, I don't use the entire width of the tape. I cut them out lengthwise. For now I'll use this I'll save it for later. Then I'm just taking out I think it's a 26G, 2 of 26G. Why 2? Because I feel 1 is like too flimsy for me. If I just take this out, you want this to be standing like that, right? When if this center one, if it is not really strong enough, then it might, kind of fall down and doesn't stand the way you want it. So I thought 126 26 G wire, one of it may not be enough. So I'm first going to tape 226G together and make it a single wire. So you need to stretch this, stretch the tape out and then keep going down. So whatever wire you have, and then you feel like it is not really thick enough or strong enough, just get 2 or 3 wires of the small size and tape it together. It may not be as sturdy as like an 18G maybe, but then it will get a little stronger. Okay, so this one is okay. So now I just start taping. You want to start with small ones. So I'm just moving them out of the frame for now. So I just start with the small ones and the wire and the tape. So I'll start with one here. Take the flower with the center and then hold it there just a little bit on the outside. Okay, so stretch the tape, hold it behind both the wires and twist it and come a little down. Why? Because you're not going to stay there and keep attaching the next layers, but it's just going to go in layers, right? So now take the next one. I'm just taking the position. So what happens, it's just not going to be all around, not spread all around. It is all going to be like, alternate either sides and one below the other on one side of the wire only. The flowers will not be taped on the back side. So I'm just going around. This is like too long for me to handle, so I'm just cutting it out. So it's easier for me to tape it around. So tape and come down a bit. Next flower, and you want some part of this wire to be hanging out. So that is what you will use to bend and make that just kind of coming out. And that's why you need a tweezer to bend and not handle the flower, touch the flower. So you want them to be bent later on like that, right? So for that you need some wire. Which what I mean to say is, you cannot tape it here, where you need to leave a little bit of the wire and then tape it. Later on that will be bent like that. So depending on how much of that the umbrella thing or that bending thing you need, you need to just leave only so much of the wire out, and you don't have to bend them all down now because taping will get difficult. So you go around and just leave out that excess wire, and as you go down, just a bit by bit, keep adding. I mean, it doesn't have to be like in a straight line, where you can alternate the positions a bit. Like so, this one is on the right side, so here this one is on the left. But however, I'm not attaching it at the back, and so much of wire is hanging out of that, and come down a bit. Like for 2 times of my taping around, I'll have one flower attached. So that one is there. So on one more here. Okay, now I'm getting all the medium sizes in. Sorry. Sorry. So taping around and then coming down bit by bit, adding the flowers, keeping them all on one side of this wire. So I just made them like, a half an hour, just half an hour before the live started. All these ones. I just want to prep and keep, so I don't do so many during the live. So they're not kind of really dried up, so I'm being a little careful. The glue wouldn't be dry for now. So keeping the flowers on one side, I'll just continue to tape, leaving a hangout of each of the individual flowers that we made, the bell-shaped ones. I'm yet to show you what to do without a cutter. That I'll show you once I've taped them all down. So now moving on to the bigger one. So try and make sure if they just turn and then go to the back side, make sure you bring them to the front. And kind of alternate the flowers between left and right here, keeping them all together on one side. Okay, and the last one. So they are all hanging out. All the wires are hanging out, which I'll be bending it out now. Just tape everything together. Okay, so that's how it looks. Okay, so now I'll use the tweezer Okay, and bend. You can start from the bottom. So when you're bending, what I notice, I'm just kind of being too sharp and making it, making the bend like too sharp is not good. So you need to kind of gently bend. So this shape is important. So this one, if you have this sharp bend, you just kind of want to make it. This gradual U shape is important. So when you see this sharp bend happens, just work on it and then get the proper U shape. Just checking if you can see. So I'm just bending all of them from the bottom. For this, I feel the tweezers are really important for this stuff. But see if you can use your scissors and do. But then tweezers are really convenient for this. This is like too sharp, right? So notice that. The first thing is to notice that it is like too sharp and then correct it. So I was just taping, as you might have been seeing in the previous one. So that's how it looks. So you can stop here. The other last thing that I'd like to do is this white tape. You can leave it white, or the one that I already made, that's kind of a little green. So you want to have the continuation of this one on that white tape as well. So using the green petal dust, I'm just taping on the white tape on the wire. So this one is in green and it continues, and then it needs to blend in a stem which is also green, right? So that is what will make it look all natural. So a green thing cannot come and get stuck with or get attached to a white stem. So this whole thing, I just dust it up green. So I'm going to blow off the excess. Okay, and you can also work a little bit on this bottom part of each flower, so that will look like part of the calyx, or at least it is just that little green as it bends just at the bottom of each flower. We could have done that like before starting to tape as well, but I forget that each time. Also because this is easier, because we start dusting each flower, it will eat up a lot of time. But then if you have a lot of time to kill, and if you really want to work on every flower, take time, you can do that to individual ones and then tape it. I'm blowing off the excess. Then one last thing which I didn't do to this one also, which when I had looked for inspirations on the internet for this flower, lily of the valley, right? Yeah, okay. So there was a little pink shade on the center, okay, here. So just a touch of pink, not too much. You really don't want the pink to show, but instead of being like just all green, you could use a round brush which just goes and touches the center only and not the like that, okay. You could avoid it, but if you look at the real one, that has a touch of pink to it. And you need to do that without spoiling the flower. But again, this part you can do it before attaching that center itself to the flower. So now I'll move that. We just see the other one doesn't have that pink. We'll see if it really made a difference or not. Okay, so that's I think will be the end. One thing which I need to show you is how to make it without the cutter. So this is the one I made yesterday and this is the one I just made today. I think a little touch of pink will settle down the green instead of being, you know, too bright, which is what is there in this one. That little pink has settled down the green, which makes it look a little more natural, is what I feel. No? Yeah. Okay. So leaving this there, I just make one of it without the cutter. So similarly, you will be doing it following the ball tool sizes and all that. They'll all be the same. See, on Instagram, where can you find the videos? There's a question on Instagram. On Instagram, it is there on my stories. I'm sharing it back on my stories. It is there for 24 hours. After which, I still haven't figured out whether the Instagram lives are just gone forever. On the Facebook, it is all there. So Facebook Fondbites page, all the lives will be there. They'll remain. Okay, so that's the ball, right? So you make the ball, and so I'll move this out when I'm doing it to just keep things in focus. That's the ball. You use a ball tool and press it down. Make a cap kind of a thing. Okay, so it's just a cap kind of a thing that is made. Now what I'll do, I'll use the scissors to cut out. I'm just going to sit and do. So that part I think you should be able to see from there. So first let me cut out. That's one tricky part with this method. You may not know if you have all the 5 petals same size. So like you can cut a few and then see, now I've just lost it. Now I think I'll have 6. So I'll just go ahead with 6 right now because that is too much. But you try and see if you can get 5 equal petals. Right, so now you have this one, right? They're like kind of too flat. So you can use your Dresden tool after cutting to kind of make it flat for you. Your resin tool is like really sharp. It could cut out your petals. Let me see, I just use my foam pad. But this needs to go back and get cupped up. So using a foam pad, but still try and retain the shape of the cup. Just pressing out each petal and then making it flat. So this part is the same as the previous one with the cutter. The only thing that you need to do here is remove off the sharp edge of each of the petal. That is going to be time consuming because having a blossom plunger cutter will be very useful, and it is going to cut out a lot of time. So the sharp edge you need to be cutting out. Just retain the cup shape, because if it falls off and then dries, if you put back in the cup shape, it could break depending on how soft your gum paste is. So I'm trying and retaining the cup shape with the ball tool. Now I've removed off all the sharp edges of the petals that I cut out. Just seeing a little bit of the sharp thing there. So all the rest will be the same. This I think is kind of getting broken. If you haven't watched the first one, and if you're watching this right now, you might have to go back to watching the first part of the live. No, it's broken now anyway. So let me just put them a little closer. I don't want to break the other petals also. So I'm just getting them a little closer without breaking. So I'm just pressing it and then making sure I retain the cup shape. The other they just dried out. So the other thing I said was to give it that rolling back. If you had that cutter like I used, it will save this time. But doesn't matter. But here you are the judge to see what size of the ball you need to take. Okay, so that's what you did for making that flower without the cutter. Means it's really close to what we made with the cutter, right? But just that it is going to take a little extra time, which is fine, I guess. Please guide about the wires with the tool, which one to use for stem and flowers. I said the ones which I have used for this one is 30 gauge wire, and For the center, before joining the center together, I had used two 26G to tape it together first, and then I used all these individual ones to put them together. So these two together as well make a good spray. You could tape these two together like that, and they'll be a kind of really good filler flower addition to your wedding cakes or things like that. I like the one with the pink dust here rather than the sharp green center. So when you are doing, you just do, but don't use like really bright pink color to the center. I mean, a very subtle pink color dust will be good. Okay, so would highlighting your Insta stories on IG, it is not in the stories, when the live is a separate thing. When if you go to my stories, you can see I'm not in the stories I can highlight, but the live is just not available after 24 hours. So if you guys are not even in the Facebook, then to view the videos later, I think you might have to go there. But I just try as much to download the videos from my Facebook page and upload it in my website, but that's going to take some time. Okay, done then. So you don't have any more doubts, so you have to start making the lily of the valley. But I'm seeing like really, amazing stuff all you guys are working on immediately after the live, and kind of sharing it with me, and then sharing the stories and all that. It's really very nice to see you guys focus on something that's really interesting for you guys. So okay, go and make the lily of the valley. When you make it, post it on the Cakes Unplugged by Fondbites magazine Facebook page, and share on Instagram stories and tag me, so I will reshare the story back into mine. And so see you tomorrow. I don't even know what's there for tomorrow, but yeah, I'll just look into the list and then come back same time tomorrow then. Bye bye guys.